Welcome back to The Explainer. Today, we're jumping right into a totally fascinating philosophical framework from the teachings and writings of Life Chen Yuan founder, the guide Shuofeng. We're going to explore a concept he calls the sublimation of life quality. Now, if you're already familiar with these writings, you know this framework offers a very specific and honestly a highly challenging roadmap for personal transformation. Our focus today is looking at how we can elevate our existence from what Shuofeng defines as human nature and transform it into something much more unrestrained celestial nature.
So let's dive into this. Shuofeng frames his teachings around the holographic theory of the universe. Think of it like this. The macrocosm is perfectly reflected right there in the microcosm. He writes, "A grain of sand is a world. A single leaf is a Buddha's enlightenment." This basically means that inside each of us is an entire, complex universe of potential natures, just waiting to be activated. We aren't just one flat identity.
Section 1. The Sublimation of Life.
To understand how we move forward, Shuofeng maps out a vast spectrum of natures that we all possess simultaneously. We literally all carry the potential for divinity, Buddha, celestial, demon, human, ghost, animal. They're all in there. The sublimation of life quality is the active, intentional journey up that ladder. It's moving from the animal to the human, then transitioning up to the celestial and the Buddha, and finally striving for full divinity. In our explainer today, we're zeroing in entirely on that crucial middle leap, ascending from human nature up to celestial nature.
Section 2. Human versus celestial nature.
Before you can make that massive leap, you have to know exactly where you stand. Shuofeng draws an incredibly stark contrast here. He defines human nature as fundamentally self-interested. It's intensely focused on the present, highly materialistic, and endlessly driven by money, power, and reputation. Humans constantly compare themselves to others, right? Which naturally breeds jealousy, anger, and a really deep-seated anxiety. But on the flip side, celestial nature is entirely selfless and absolutely carefree. A celestial being values spiritual abundance way over material wealth. They just follow natural rhythms. They don't try to control anyone. They hold zero attachments to organizations, nationalities, or specific relationships. They possess nothing, yet paradoxically, they have everything.
Section 3. The crucial prerequisites.
So how do we actually cross that divide? Well, Shuofeng presents a very bold prerequisite. You cannot just think your way into this. He states clearly that you must step completely out of the traditional production and life mode. Why? Because the traditional world inherently requires human nature just to survive. If you try to practice possessing nothing while living right in the middle of a traditional system, you might literally starve. I love the metaphor he uses here. He writes that trying to ascend to a celestial nature while clinging to your traditional lifestyle is like trying to lift oneself into the sky by pulling one's own hair. It's structurally impossible, and it's basically sheer self-deception.
And here's the real kicker. Mere actions do not change your core nature. According to the text, shouting grand slogans, reading classic texts, building massive temples, donating to charities, or even inventing high-tech products for humanity are all absolutely useless for sublimating your actual life quality. Now, Shuofeng notes these actions might build merits in society, for sure, but they do not prove that your underlying human nature has actually transformed into a celestial one.
Section 4. The details define you.
To actually transform, you have to truly become the thing you want to be. And Shuofeng teaches that this is proven in thousands of tiny, real-world details. Let's look at some scenarios he uses to test this. Imagine this. You are suddenly stripped of your comfortable mattress, your modern conveniences, and your nice home. You have to move into a basic straw hut with nothing but a bed of wheatgrass.
If your immediate reaction is discomfort and frustration, bam! Shuofeng says your life quality is still firmly rooted in human nature. You still crave luxury. But if you look around that straw hut and genuinely think it's interesting and fun, and you feel truly happy in that simple space, that proves you shed your human nature. You are completely detached from material comfort.
Okay, let's talk about food. Imagine losing access to all flavor, all spices, all your favorite meals. You have to eat plain boiled cabbage and potatoes without even a dash of salt.
This brilliantly illustrates the divide. A human finds that unseasoned food incredibly difficult to swallow because we deeply crave sensory pleasure. But the celestial nature? They eat that plain boiled cabbage with total relish and immense gratitude. They're completely content with the simple, unadorned sustenance provided by nature.
Now let's step into much tougher emotional territory.
Zhui Feng challenges his followers with their romantic attachments. Picture the person you love playing and being intimate with someone of the same gender. The human instinct here is incredibly strong. It's an overwhelming wave of jealousy, anger, and a deep need for exclusivity. But according to Light Shangyang teachings, if you've truly sublimated, you operate with absolutely zero possessiveness. Instead of anger, you sincerely bless the person you care about, and you feel actual radiant joy for their happiness and their freedom. What about absolute financial betrayal? Imagine someone you trust completely cons you and secretly steals every single penny you have to your name.
A human reaction is visceral. You want revenge, you want to curse them. But the celestial reaction is complete indifference to the material loss. Actually, it's more than indifference. They actually pity the scammer. They recognize the thief is being consumed by their own inner demons, so they simply wish them luck in turning their life around.
Section 5. The ultimate quality test.
Those scenarios are exceptionally tough, but Zhui Feng saves the ultimate test for your deepest internal honesty. He teaches that if someone trusts you unconditionally and you secretly exploit that trust behind their back, you are entirely human. It doesn't matter if the rest of the world thinks you're a saint. It doesn't even matter if the person you deceived never finds out. Zhui Feng explicitly states that you cannot fool heaven. The universe knows. Secret deception makes you a fraud.
So, I want to leave you with this final provocative question from Zhui Feng's teachings to reflect on today. Think about your daily interactions. When you smile and flatter someone just to get ahead, are you secretly resenting them internally? Or are you just playing a role? Because according to this framework, a person's true quality of life is reflected precisely in these hidden microscopic details. You might successfully fool society with a pristine public image, but your internal monologue reveals the truth. Are you still operating strictly within human nature, or have you truly begun that profound journey toward the celestial? Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer, and I highly encourage you to examine your own hidden details today.